And I think we're live. Welcome everyone. Hi. I'm just waiting for a few seconds for that connection to start. There we go. Wonderful. So, let me share the most important things. There we go. Reference pictures on Pinterest. Let me just share that with you for a second. If you're sort of tuning in, we'll start drawing shortly. Hi. So that's where the reference pictures are going to be. And there we go. I have a really busy day today. Lots of art, lots of fun things to do. So I'm really looking forward to spending the next sort of 30 minutes, 40 minutes drawing with you. I've been busy finishing the sketchbook, which is now full. So it's very exciting. There's just a little extra page to protect the painting. I'm sort of tempted to draw something on there, but it's just the extra page. So yeah, my sketchbook is full. So that's very exciting. So I need to film a sketchbook tour. And this sketchbook was from Watercolor Week. So let me just show you quickly before we dive into our drawing today. Just because I'm waiting for some people to join, and I think I'm a few minutes early anyway. So I have some time to show you this. So this is a sketchbook that I completed for Watercolor Week, and it's part of my creative community. I decided to paint the outside as well. It didn't work so well because the material is sort of a bit hard, but I quite like the result. It's fun. So this is my phone number, which I will remove. But yeah, I started this on the 16th of June and I finished it today on the 27th. So very fast, and I painted every day, shared it in my community, and invited people to join in, and all the recordings are in my community. So lots of fun. And it's fun that when you do an art challenge like this, that you really push yourself to practice something new as well, and to really engross in a material. And I really try to keep it really loose, not doing multiple paintings a day. And there's some parts that I don't like very much, and then there's other parts of these paintings that I like a lot, as you always have when you make any art. Like, that's always the case, isn't it? There's always parts that you like more and parts that you like less. But it's really satisfying to complete a sketchbook, especially in such a short time. So it's really nice to really dive into a subject. So yeah, I'm planning to do some more challenges like that. Some of these drawings are really loose and some are a little bit more detailed. This was quite a challenge. I've seen pictures like this before online where people made a forest, and I thought I'll give it a try, but it's actually quite hard to keep it looking sort of natural and to make it feel like a quite full sort of forest, but it was really fun to do. There's also sort of concept ideas in here that I sort of feel are not completely ready, but I might sort of take them away and paint them again somewhere else. And I really like some of the color combinations as well. Just a really loose watercolor effect. And sort of for me, less is more sometimes. So the more I am tinkering with the paintings, the less I like them. So sometimes just doing a really quick sketch like this and then leaving it as it is actually my favorite. So this is another one where I just did a really quick sort of loose painting, and I'm really happy with it. Just keeping it really simple is sometimes a good thing. So there you go. So this is a little sketchbook that I completed. It's 24 pages, but then front and back. So I finished that in the last 2 weeks, and I'm very excited about it. So it was my big project, and you can see I added a bit of color to the sides as well. But this front, I decided to paint it. I might add a bit more detail. There we go. I always quite like painting my sketchbooks because it's easier to recognize which one is which if there's a bit more detail on the front and a bit more detail in the, if I can recognize them. There we go. I can see a few more people have joined now, which is wonderful. Make sure you say hi in the chat. I'd love to know who's here and where you're from, and if you are painting or drawing along today. So let me know. And for those of you who don't know me, well, I'm sure most of you do, but if you've been here before, because I know there's a lot of people who come back every week. But if you don't know me, my name is Irene, and I'm an artist, an illustrator, an art teacher, and I'm living in the UK. And I have these live sessions every week to do a bit of sketchbooking together. And this is the sketchbook that I wanted to use today. And it's a really kind of old sketchbook. So I started this in 2020 with some of these drawings. So there's a bit of line and wash in here. So these are quite old sketches now from 2020. And I realized I have a few pages left in here. Hi, Wanda, really lovely to see you. Yeah, so these are really old sketches from ages ago. Sketches that I can probably draw much better nowadays. It's funny because this one I took a few photos of how I made it. And this little mushroom is actually my most trending pin on Pinterest now. So it's the reason why my Pinterest views are quite high, because of this little drawing that I shared on Pinterest years ago. I sort of forgot that was in here. So I thought I could fill this sketchbook because there's only a few pages left. And then it's full. These were from Inktober 2020 probably. So these were from a course that I run, like my sketchbook course. But again, long time ago. So I only have 1, 2, 3 pages left. So I thought, let's do some sketching and let's fill these pages. And then the sketchbook is full and I can file it under complete, which is always really nice to do. So just quickly checking how everyone is. If you're ready to start doing some art. Lovely. So this is the sketchbook. I picked a reference photo to start with, just this little hedgehog, because I thought it'd be really fun to draw. And these are some materials that I carry with me. This is a little bag that I use to carry art materials when I go somewhere, to my studio or out and about. And I'm just going to start doing a bit of drawing. So there we go. I'll use a size 5 fine liner. So this is one of the sort of medium fine ones that I have. And this is the one that I'm going to use for my sketch today. And I noticed that my camera lens is a little bit smudged. So bear with me for a second. I have a glasses case here with a soft cloth. So let me quickly clean my lens a little bit. I'm sorry, that is not very nice to look at. There we go. So, yeah, much better. I just realized it was a little bit smudged. So that's much better. So let's get started. And I have some highlighter pens here as well that were gifted to me a little while ago. And I've not actually used them much yet. I just really like the colors, these really bright fluorescent colors. So maybe I will add some of those in there. So I've got the box here, but I've not really used them yet. So I carried them with me earlier this week to in case I do some sketches out and about, but I didn't actually use them. So let's draw this little hedgehog, and I am just going to fill the entire page with one drawing because this is a really small sketchbook, as you can see. So I look forward to just drawing the entire animal. And I'm starting really light, so just with the proportions. So this is the back of the hedgehog. So I have one in my garden. I've not seen it for a little while. I'm assuming it's still there. So that's the nose. So I'm really lightly starting. Before I go start adding in more details. So I think they're absolutely adorable, and it's good when you have snails in the garden as well, because they eat the snails. So there we go. So this is my base sort of sketch, and I have quite a lot on today. I am hosting a community live session. So if you're a community member, make sure you don't forget there is a live session later today at 6 o'clock UK time. So there is a live session today that I'm hosting for my community on Zoom, where we are going to do, let me quickly check. We are going to make, I think it's a mixed media session. I've not actually prepared for it yet, other than picking the reference photo. So yeah, it's a mixed media session where we're going to use some paint and markers and pencils and different things to create a really fun and colorful sort of still life with a door and a ladder and some plants. And so I picked a really fun reference photo for them. So that is on tonight. And then I'm hosting a bit of a marketing event as well at a little bit later tonight. It's a webinar. So lots on. So there we go. Just slowly starting to crystallize this out a little bit. And I really like drawing in pen. I do it a lot, where I don't use a sketch pen, so I go straight in with pen. And I know it can feel a little bit uncomfortable at first if you've never done that. But what I really like is just the fact that you can't use an eraser. You just have to go for it. I find it very soothing to just go straight in with pen and not having to worry about it being perfect. You're sort of forced to let go of perfectionism that way. You're forced to go into a sort of more looser style. And also by going straight in with pen, you sort of find your own style quite easily. I know this is like a big topic. People always want to find their art style. And I think by going in with pen, you're sort of forcing your own style, because there's no, like, every line is there to stay, and there's every, like all those little marks and details that make your sort of handwriting, your you know, when you write, you have like specific ways of doing it. You have this in drawing as well, like specific, your own personal handwriting. And by just letting every line be, and by not sort of trying to make it much neater than it naturally is or different, you're sort of forcing your own style to the surface, if that makes sense. So I think that that is a really great way of discovering what your style is. And of course then you can sort of amend that a bit. And I think people hold on too much on this idea that they need to have a style anyway. So make sure there is a lot of little spikes. So see, this little hedgehog starts to creative. I thought it was a tail, but I don't think they have tails. Like not like this, so I'm just going to block that out again. So I think it must be from a plant, like wood or something like that. So, because I'm sure hedgehogs don't have tails like mice or rats. So, and you can see that this drawing is not a perfect sort of photocopy from the photo, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be. I sort of interpret it in my own way, like that foot is a slightly different angle, and there are some things that are just a little bit different, and that's okay. So if I want to make some lines a little bit darker, I could use a slightly thicker pen and just go over some lines and make them a bit darker. And we did a bit of a line and wash painting session in the community last week. And this is where I use these pens for a lot. I'm not going to do line and wash today, not right now, but I use these waterproof pens a lot for line and wash. So, there we go. Should I add a little bit of color just for fun? Very bright, isn't it? I like it a lot. So I need to think of what to draw next. I think I might go for another animal. I always love drawing animals. There we go. They're very fine, these highlighters. Very the tips are very fine, different from the type of highlighters that you're usually used to. They are a bit thicker. I do really like drawing in highlighter. I think it's an underrated art tool. There we go. I think that is it. And I don't think they bleed through. No, that's wonderful. So let's pick the next little animal. So let me have a look. So we've done a hedgehog now. I do really like owls. Should I draw an owl? Just quickly having a look of what else is in here. These pages that I've done, because these were for, I included these in my sketchbook course. If anyone's done my Fill Your First Sketchbook in 30 Days, these two pictures were part of that. And I feel like maybe it's time to replace them. Sometimes it's okay to, like when you create something, you're happy with it, but then you look at it a little bit later and actually you feel like, yeah, maybe you want things a little bit different, and that's sometimes what happens. I sort of want to go over all my courses anyway at some point and see if there's any videos or any other parts that I want to replace and change, and then probably make them a bit more expensive as well. So there we go. So let me save that to this board. There we go, next animal there. I think I'm going to approach this sort of in the opposite way. Where's my clip? Have I got a clip here somewhere? There we go. So if I do this sort of opposite by making a blob first and then adding in the details. So the owl is sort of roughly here. So if this is a technique that's very new to you, this is something that I do a lot. And I really like. So instead of going for the details, I am really looking at the rough shape that I'm seeing. So no, it's not really going through. That's okay. Some markers go through the page really quickly, and some other markers do not, depending a bit on what the markers are made out of. And this is just a highlighter, but a lot of pens, if you have alcohol markers, for example, I love drawing an alcohol marker, but not so much in my sketchbook because I don't really like how it presses through to the other side. So. There we go. See, we have a bit of a shape of an owl there already. So maybe a bit of a different colors. I'm adding in a bit of orange here. It was very warm here the last few days. Well, when I say very warm, it was 27 degrees, which felt significantly warmer than it was in the past. So everyone is in a summer mood, but 27 is not that warm yet, is it? Remember last year we had temperatures of 40 degrees at some point, so 27 is still okay. So let's add in the eyes. I really like owls. I think they're such beautiful animals. So let's add in a bit more detail. There we go. Shall I use my 0.8 if I have that? There we go. So now I've done this sort of blob shape of what the owl looks like. I'm going to add in a bit more detail. So for example here. And I'm not necessarily looking to go inside or outside of the lines that I've just created. Either way is fine. But I can use those shapes to help me sort of determine where I want my lines to be, if that makes sense. And I don't mind it if the drawing is a little bit wonky. As always, I teach people to let go of perfectionism and to just have fun and experiment, and that it's okay if your drawing is not perfect. So I apply these rules to myself as well. Especially for a sketchbook drawing like this, which is a quick drawing in comparison to like painting a large sort of scale painting where you spend a lot of time on. It's good to be aware of what it is that you can achieve in a short time, and that's often much more than you think. But also, sort of set realistic expectations, right? There we go. Sometimes you see paintings online and you think, oh, I'm going to quickly replicate that or copy the idea. But those people might have been painting on that for 3 months. And if you want to then do that in an hour, that's not really realistic. And sometimes people don't realize it, how long a certain art style takes. So it's good to be aware of them. So. I quite like them. There we go. I like the mix of a bit of color and more details as well. So, there we go. So I just wanted to quickly share with you. So this is the event I'm running tonight. So I just thought instead of just talking about it, I might as well share it. There we go. So next animal. What shall we draw? Actually, I might add in a little bit of wood for the creature to sit on as well. So, there we go. I saw someone carry an owl in sort of on their arm a few weeks ago. It was just in my local park, which I thought was really fun. Okay, I'm going to pick the next animal. So, shall I stay with a bit of UK animals, native creatures? How about I will show you in a moment. I think this is a really fun photo. How about a badger? And this is another animal that is quite common in the UK, but fairly, like, you don't see them very often. I don't. You have to very often see the holes. I just thought this was a really fun pose as well. So there we go. Adding it to the list. If you want to find the photo, it's on Pinterest. There we go. I might use the same technique as I used here for the owl. So let's start with yellow. Just making sure you can see. What I'm doing. And again, I am not looking to make a super realistic sort of image of this animal. I'm more trying to create like the essence, so to say. Find the what it is that makes the animal so characteristic, or what is it in the pose that catches my attention. So I'm not necessarily looking for hyperrealism, so to say. So, and don't forget that tail. Can you sort of see what I'm doing? So I really like this bright yellow. I don't use neon very often, not in my usual art, so to say. But I do really like it. Maybe I should use it a bit more often. So my art was in an art exhibition last month, which was really fun. And one of the artists there made this interactive piece where you could shine a black light onto the painting and then see all these fluorescent parts of the paint. And I did think, oh wow, I'd really like to use some of that paint as well, because it's just a really fun way of making your picture interactive, right? I really liked that. So I did feel inspired by that. So can you sort of see where I'm going with this? Or not at all yet? Let's add in a bit of black marks and see if that makes more sense then. So first thing, the ears, they're sort of here. And then the nose is here. So I have been drawing and painting full time for about 6 years now. It does go quite fast. But it's good to remember that it does take a bit of time to learn. I think the more you practice, the quicker you learn. Of course, so a lot of common sense there. I think he looks quite cute, doesn't he? And my favorite mediums are watercolor, probably, charcoal, I really love gouache as well, and color pencils, of course, is also big art material that I use a lot. But also I mix things up very often, like I do now, where I use a bit of paint and then add some pencils and then really create something that is not necessarily one art material, but a bit of a mixed media sort of style is something that I do a lot. One, because I think sometimes it's a bit easier. And there are certain things that you can achieve with pen or with pencil or with paint that you cannot achieve with the other mediums. So by combining it, you have the best of both worlds. So I think it looks quite cute sitting there. I have art materials that I use for, like in sketchbooks, that I use for different purposes. So sometimes I like to use my sketchbook for like quick mark making. Sometimes I paint in it or do landscapes or practice drawing people. I really feel like doing more portraits again recently. So I'm sort of thinking of starting to incorporate that more again. So there we go. I think I was going to say that she's finished. A lot of quick sketches today. let's pick the next picture. So I've saved the reference picture on my Pinterest board. So if you want to draw along, or if you're watching this later, if you watch the recording, know you can find that on my Pinterest board. So what animal to draw next? Let's have a look. I was thinking a dragonfly, but I thought, did I do one already in here? Maybe not. Okay, let's do that. See if I can find a fun and interesting photo. Don't know if that's what I really fancy. Let's pick something else. So how about this one? I think that's cute. Let's do that. So I picked a bird, and of course I love drawing and painting birds. If you have been with my classes for a little bit, you really know that I love painting birds. So there's so many of them as well. There's so many different ones and different types. So there we go. And I really like this sort of bright color picture, so I'm going to just carry that on. So there we go. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask away. I know that there's always questions, so feel free to ask away if you have any questions about art materials or something else. So there we go. So I'm going to again use this blob method because I'm really enjoying it and I feel like it works quite well. So it really helps you to focus on the main shapes and to let go of all the details, because it's not a material that naturally invites for details. See, I'm doing it very loose and quick. So and let's mix it up with a bit of a different color. There we go. So there we go, because there's a bit of a branch here where she's sitting on. Can you sort of see where I'm going with this? Try and add a bit of detail with the red. So this is a pigment brush pen that is really great for lots of different materials. So it's probably wasted a little bit in this sketchbook, but so I really love drawing, and I'm so happy that this is something that I've incorporated in my life and that I started to do, and something that I can make a living of as well, doing full time. And the biggest part that I make a living from is my classes, and then for a smaller part it's illustration work, and so I illustrate children's books and stuff, so I often get lots of questions about that. Yeah, and hosting events. For example, next month I'm hosting some events in Margate, so I have to travel all that way. Sometimes I do corporate events. Like classes for like team building and relaxation. Yeah. It is lots of fun. I'm very lucky. So it looks like there's quite a bit of delay between my stream and the and what you are seeing. So I'm quite a bit further ahead than where you're at. And that's okay. That does mean that if you ask a question, I'll probably see it quite a bit later. I suspect that the delay works the other way as well. So there we go, I quite like her. I think I might leave it like that. I was going to go in with black as well, but I don't know if it's necessary. I am going to find another picture, and then maybe two more, and then my sketchbook is full. So I think I might do that today, finish it. So let's find the next picture. There we go. Another garden staple animal. And there we go. So I definitely have to use some green for that, don't I? I'm going to use the same techniques, same style. Just slowly carrying on. So, starting with the head of the frog. So again, just a blob technique, no details. So there's a bit of a stain here on my page, and that's okay. I have lots of toads in my garden. I think they're toads, not frogs. Based on what I know. I think they're probably toads. So. There we go. And they're very common here. I think frogs sort of live everywhere in the world, right? I think every country has frogs. I assume. I don't know if that's true, but I assume so. There we go. And now I say that a lot. It's one of my signature words. This one might look even a bit more poisonous with these bright colors. So, belly. So again, I just focus on the large shapes, not on the details. So you're just really focusing on the proportions and the sort of general proportions rather than the fine details. And I think that is a really helpful tool when you're new to drawing, to focus on the big proportions first and then go into the details. And I know everyone sort of knows that, but then this blob technique is just a really great way of bringing that into practice. Because even though you might sort of know that you have to do that, doing it in reality is still, can be a little bit different, right? Knowing it and doing it are two different things. And I also know that if you work in sketch pencil, for example, it's very tempting to get caught up in all the little details quite quickly. So, and what I'm doing here is just a sketch. So I'm not even looking for like a perfect drawing or anything. And sometimes you need to remind yourself of that as well. There's times and places to really go into lots of detail, and there are moments when it's okay to be a bit wonky and loose and see what happens. And also sometimes I try and create these really super detailed drawings, which I can do, but then I often actually like these loose drawings much better. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you think you want to do a really detailed piece, but actually the really quick wonky sketch is actually more fun. There's a lot to it, to this little frog, isn't it? A lot of detail. I could sort of paint that and then spend days like on the details, and I actually quite fancy that right now. Sort of makes me want to paint really detailed frog pictures. Maybe for next project. So don't forget its little nostrils. I think mine is a little bit bulkier than the one in the photo, but that's okay. A little bit chunkier. Well, I think I might stop here. It's really easy to overwork it, but I think this is going to be it. There we go. I really like this pen. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So last picture already. And then the sketchbook as well. It's also really fun to sort of see how my style has changed if you compare like this picture, for example, which I think is quite cute, or these to yeah, or even this woman. Like, I don't know what's going on with those proportions to this. So it's 4 years difference, right? I started this sketchbook in 2020 and now it's 2024. So 4 years of difference, 4 years of practice. Very different vibe and style, and yeah, different types of drawings. No, I do think this squirrel is quite cute. I would draw it different now, so maybe I will add in a squirrel. Let's do that. Last picture, a squirrel. So. There we go. So I want a picture. Do you like this? Why not? Don't overthink it. I'll just pick the first picture that I like. There we go. So I'll save it to my boards. There we go. So if you want to find the reference pictures, go to my Pinterest board. I added a link in the chat, and you can find all the reference pictures there. So. What color did I use here? Pink. I quite like that. I'm going to use that again. So if the head is sort of here, so, and then this is the back here, and then this is tail. So, and this is the knot with a hand here and a hand there. See how I'm blobbing, but at the same time I'm already thinking a bit about proportions and placement and everything that I'm seeing. So, and another foot here. So. Maybe the tail a little bit bigger, so that justifies the animal being so low on the paper. There we go. So this is sort of roughly the shape that I'm looking at here. Let's add in a bit of orange as well. So here around the tail, of course. So a bit of ginger vibes for that squirrel. So I think I'm ready to start drawing on my blob. So just quickly checking the time. Oh, there we go. So I really like these rounded sort of ear shapes. So there we go. I think that's very cute. So I wanted to make sure that I add that in. So this is sort of the shape of the head, maybe the nose a little bit more pointed. So this is my opportunity to really look at these finer details and see, add in a bit more detail there, for example. And again, if your drawing looks a bit sort of cartoonish or not quite realistic, that is fine. I don't think mine is going to be hyper realistic either. That is just not the style that I'm going for with these markers and stuff. So here around, I can see some fingers. They have these like tiny little hands. Not so different from ours. So there we go. And I'll notice a bit of a toe here. So there we go. We've got a bit of a graffiti squirrel here. So of course the mouth needs to be a bit darker. I like this color red. So and of course some whiskers. There we go. Let's have a look what that looks like. So I think it's good. I'm quite happy with it. So let's look at what we've done so far. When people say to me they don't have time to make art, I always think it's all about making time, right? Even if you do like a quick scribble like this. I'm now in an hour. I've done 1, 2, 3. I really like that one. I think he came out really fun. Like a proper little character. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawings. And yes, they are not perfect. They are not the most detailed drawings. They're a bit wonky and loose. But it's okay. It makes me feel relaxed. It was fun to do. I've practiced my drawing skills because these, like every time I draw a bird, it becomes a bit easier. So you practice your drawing skills and your observation skills, and every time it's a bit easier. So this is the squirrel from today, 2024. And then this was the squirrel that I drew in 2020. There we go, 4 years difference. So this sketchbook is full, which means I can finally film a sketchbook tour. Although it feels a bit silly to do that for these drawings. Like, I don't even know what this dragon is, but for these drawings that I made 4 years ago. But I might still do so. I've got lots of sketchbook tours on my YouTube channel, and people always like watching them. So let me know if you would like to see a full tour with some thoughts about each of these drawings. And thank you so much for joining in. I really hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember, if you want to do a bit more art, we're doing a mixed media sketchbook page at 6 o'clock tonight, where we are drawing a bit of a still life scene with a really quaint sort of door and some flowers and some plants in a really loose style, in watercolors and color pencil and maybe some crayons and some pens, so you can bring any art materials that you have. So if you fancy doing that, I shared the link in the chat already, and I will see you all soon for our next session. Bye bye.